Well, hello everyone. Unlimited wisdom, daily wisdom, and I love and appreciate you guys. Coach Bob, Melody, Deborah, Michael, Angela, my lovely wife Terry, and CJ, the hostess with the mostest. And the first thing I want to share with you guys is something that I think, I hope, I know all together that you guys are going to get excited about. Um, this is going to be the new Unlimited Wisdom website and platform. We're going to move it off school, and we're gonna create everything ourselves. So all the things that we like about school, of course, we'll bring over, and all the stuff we don't like, we'll leave there. So this is just a transition of what we're going to do. And so don't have any really more information about that other than, hi Sandy, is other than just I know moving forward, um my goal is to continue to do what I've always done, and that's to help each and every one of you not only get incredible clarity in your life, but also, love yourself, love others, and also, just have it's like I shared with Craig, and maybe I don't know, maybe I'll post that in Unlimited Wisdom for people to read. But one of the things is how many of you've always heard that, wow, I just wish I could know how to motivate myself. I wish I could figure out how to motivate others. And really, we've talked about this before, but it is as simple is you'll move forward when you're looking forward to something. And so that is not motivation. That's all based around hope. So what people in the world are missing today more than anything is hope. Because if we had the hope and we really had hope that and believe that things were going to get better, what would that do for your state of mind? What would that do for your spirit and your soul? If you really are excited about something, you really, really, really change your heart, your mood, your thinking patterns, everything. Just like we've talked in the past about going on a vacation or knowing that you got a new grandchild coming. All Hannah has to do is reach out to Terry and say, "Hey, I'll do a FaceTime with you on this day at this time," and you can just see her change in her focus. And when we realize that you have hope for something, that's really amazing. So, in the subject yesterday, when I was talking about we're all winging it, I want to talk about a quick subject in that same category. And you guys have seen me do it before, but I continue to learn more about it. And what if, again, this topic would be about love? So again, I would tell everyone, and this is going to be very weird for you. Some of you will do it, some of you won't. But the bottom line of what you need to do is have a very clear definition of what you believe love is. And instead of just writing a definition of love, why couldn't you, within that word love, ask yourself not only the definition of what love is to you, but what you would like in your life when it comes to love, right? Because if you have it in your mind and you have it as a thought and consciousness, then you can create it. Then you can pull it into your life. Hi, Scott. Hi, Faith. Hi, Deborah Grady. Hi, Arlene. Thank you guys for jumping on here. And so, if I just ask this question, and I've done it many, many, many times, but again, I'm bringing back the basic principles that I know that has changed my life and other people's lives, is if I asked you a simple question and all I said is, I want you to write down three things that you love. Write down three things that you love. And so I just want you for a little moment here. I just want you guys to think about it. Three things that you love, right? And when I said that, how many of you put down yourself first? It's like I can remember the first time I was asked this question, and I was like, dang, I didn't even put myself, right? And so when you really, really think that way, you're going like, why aren't I on the list? Why aren't I on the list? Because I see some people like Melody even put God first, right? Well, if we want to play with this concept or this idea, then I've said this before. You can go to kids in Sunday school when they're really, really, really young, and I love doing this for people because it really makes their minds shift. And I go, so if you went to a small child that could communicate with you very well, and you just said, where is God? And it's interesting from a very early age that children get a concept right here, right here. This is where Jesus is. This is where God is. Then how from that point to where we are today that we think that God or Jesus is someplace else? You're always like, it's like God's out there. You know what I mean? He's not in every living, that I guess that would be a neat time to sort of share this with you because that's where it would be coming from. So let me just give you my thought of it, right? Okay, so me, I love math and I love science. And so when you really love math and science, there's this thing they figured out years ago that's called dark matter. And dark matter, very simply, is this: it's the 97% of stuff that's between all the living things. Let that play with your head. So when you look up at the sky and you can see all the stars like behind Coach Bob, it's like all the dark stuff is the stuff that's holding together the stuff that has the light. Are you guys following me? So if you look at a cell, if you can break it down to the smallest thing, you're going to see an atom, but you're going to see a nucleus, a proton, a neutron. And it's really interesting how the proton and neutrons are whipping around the nucleus at super fast speed. But between all of it, it's still 97% empty space. See, for me, in my way of figuring out things, that's God. God is the matter that holds everything together. So you look at a desk, you look at a camera, you look at everything out there. And don't you guys find it interesting that how many of you ever seen like a scene of the Matrix, right? Where the zeros and the ones are flying behind and it's all this digital stuff, right? Next time you look at that, maybe Craig can find a picture of it. You know what I mean? As it's moving across. When you're watching it, you're looking at the zeros and ones, and they're flying by. How many of you are following me? But no one ever looks at the picture and goes, wow, look at all the darkness between the green numbers. Why are they moving in patterns? Why are they moving at a certain speed? What's holding them together? So if some of you have seen where, not only does a universe keep getting bigger and bigger, and now they say we have over a billion universes. So you're looking at all the green there, but how many of you realize that with all the green moving around, there's a lot of it's all on blackness. Excuse me. So that's what I would call, thank you, Craig. Give Craig a hand. He's always doing that. So the dark matter And when you look at our bodies, you know what I mean? So when you think of this and you're thinking everything's held together with this dark matter, whether you want to think of gravity or whatever you want to think of that's holding it all together. But a lot of people, when I say this next statement, they really freak out. So, have any of you just taken a second and thought, okay, so the earth is, flipping around at over 24,000 miles an hour. And not only are we rotating around the sun and the moon's rotating around us, but do any of you realize that we're also, all the planets are moving through the universe at a speed? We're not just hung up like when we went to school and they hung the planets on a little mobile thing, it's like a cat toy or something that a child would play with. So there's pictures of this where we're flying as we're spinning, as things are flying around us. Are you guys getting this? So if that's true and we're stuck on Earth because of gravity, does this mean that dark matter is actually passing through us? Dark matter is passing through everything. So it is pretty interesting that people want to think that they understand science. And then you can say to them, why is the core in the middle of Earth all lava? And we know that it spits out in places because of volcanoes and then under the earth. But you even look at a molecule of water, H2O, and 97% of it's dark matter. So for me, not knowing, how do you know that, right? Not leaning on my own understanding, this to me is God. And if you understand that it's frequency, if you understand that it's vibration, if you understand that it's all the things that were created, that's there. And I know I've said this before, but one of the things that's crazy is now they know that there's not only dark matter, but now there's dark energy. So what is dark energy? They now see it in the universe because of telescopes that they have now, that there's actually particles are moving through the universe and they're moving fast, but they're also gaining speed. Now, this totally contradicts the big bomb, the big boom, the big bang. Because when there's an explosion, as soon as the explosion happens, the particles are moving at the fastest they can move. And as air and stuff is around them, gravity's around them, we all know that particles blow up. And then what do? Gravity brings them back to the ground. What a great time to talk about that right after 4th of July. But if you shoot a bullet out of a gun or any trajectory that you push, as you push it, the gravity pulls it to the ground and the wind resistance and everything around it keeps slowing it down. You guys get it? Now science have found dark energy where there's particles moving in the universe and they're picking up speed. Don't know where they blew up, but the particles are picking up speed. So if you talk to all the scientists that understand about dark energy, the answer is, what is dark energy? And the answer is, I don't know. I do not know what's moving and pushing and pulling these particles, and they're picking up speed. They don't know. So in science, there's a thing called hypothesis. And hypothesis is simply an educated guess until someone proves you're wrong. For some of you who get mad at me saying this, it's like, why did the world, including the UN and NATO and all these, experts out there, why did they all of a sudden just all give up on climate? Did you guys notice that? It's like, I mean, we know the big Al Gore movie. We're all not supposed to be here right now. Florida and New York is underwater. But didn't they tell us that all the experts agreed? Then we can just say very simply that all the experts are wrong. For the first time in history, they're now telling you about the real records. So you notice when they say it's the hottest it's ever been? To scare us, they picked a date and it's the hottest it's been since then. But if they go back and look in the 1900s, it was way hotter than it is now. Is that weird? So they no longer can say a record high, a record high. But if they say record high, they can say a record high since, the 70s or since the 60s. If we go back another 30 years, it's crazier. So it is interesting how their whole goal is just always to scare the hell out of us. There's never been more hurricanes. There's never been more tornadoes. There's never been the 100-year floods. A friend of mine that I talk to all the time, we were laughing. When they say a 50-year flood or a 100-year flood, what are they telling you? That if you went before that 100 years, there was a flood worse. If you guys look up on Google or AI, look at the natural disasters that have happened in this world and just put in there, what are the worst natural disasters? Worst natural disasters. And you guys will see that there's floods that killed like 3 million people. They make a big deal nowadays if a flood happens in Texas and killed 22 girls. You know what I mean? In a camp. That's far from 3 million. And so now that I've shared the dark matter and the dark energy, what if you just lifted your imagination enough to realize that 97% of the consistency of who you are, if that dark energy and dark matter that is in you and is constantly being moved through you was simply the presence of a higher being? Something where the infinite, wisdom hangs out. The unlimited wisdom hangs out. So in that, you hear, like when we went through the Napoleon Hill books, Napoleon Hill always talked about a sixth sense, that he always believed that if two or more was gathered, there was a third in the midst, which is this infinite wisdom. And it does really, really make you think weird. Hi, Mary. Hi, Shelley. Thanks for jumping on. Because in that infinite wisdom where the vibration is, where the frequencies are, the things that we don't know that we don't know. I was sharing with my wife today about a guy broke down the Lord's Prayer to just doing nothing but communicating with the universe and God with quantum physics. That he believed that Jesus, when he taught the disciples the Lord's Prayer, that each and every word, if you use Hebrew and Greek, is just as actually you getting centered, getting peaceful, and then connecting with the vibration and energy of love. So when you think of Buddhists and all these people, don't they always talk about you need to calm down, you need to find peace, you need to feel the love, and you got to get centered. You got to get the core where it's not so noisy. And we all know that we should be there. Well, if that's true, then the concept of love is really, really simplistic. Because in Jesus's teachings, there was really, people don't like when I say this, it's just what I know, is that Jesus took all the commandments, all the laws of all the religions and said, listen, Put that entity first. Put that connection first. Put that first. Second, if you put that first, you'll feel an unconditional love that you know that you're missing. The thing that you're constantly are, I'm alone and I'm sad and I don't have peace and I'm worrying. It's like I don't have any hope. I don't have any clarity. I don't have any purpose. The reason that people in the world feel all these things is they feel all these things because they don't know how to get connected. They don't know its existence, and then they don't know how to hardwire themselves and connect themselves to it. I did the Wi-Fi posting today. You know what I mean? But if Wi-Fi doesn't work, how fast do people look for this? You know, some of you know what this really is because this is what you used to do before Wi-Fi, right? So now let's cover just one other part that's pretty powerful. So all the things that you think about yourself that we talked about yesterday, right? Is like you beating yourself up. It's like some of you are consistently believing that all the things that you've ever done are all the things that you haven't done, that you're not worthy of that unconditional love. Can I get an amen and like a really, really big amen? So we're not the person that deserves unconditional love. So we're constantly in our mind being lied to by what is called drifting, of you constantly lying to yourself, believing that you're not able to connect with that ether, that ethos, that dark matter, that dark energy that's already you. You don't believe that you're deserving of unconditional love. So if you don't deserve and you're not worth it and you're not enough and you never can be forgiven because certain religions and organized religions basically told you every day of your life of how much of an awful sinner you are, that you're not perfect, that you're a sinner, that you're worthless, that all these things that are out there just make you more. Do any of you have bad thoughts? Do any of you have temptations? Do any of you get mad when you're not supposed to get mad? Do you wish harm along others? See, there's all these things that we do all the time that the world tells us makes us less, and we're not deserving of that love. And I'm telling you right now, that's just flat out bullshit. That's a lie. That's a thing that you consistently are going through your head. And so because you don't believe that you're worthy and that you are unique and that you're made exactly the way you're made, that if you would just let all of that shit go and accept and see the way that the universe loves that in you, until you do that, you can't love you. Because it's impossible for you to see yourself the way the universe sees you. I've never said any of this stuff. Craig's been around me a lot. So this is what you guys are seeing going to be moving forward from now. Because I just want to be your teacher. There's two things that I want to be for you moving forward. Is I want to be your teacher and I want to be your friend. I don't want to be a pastor. I don't want to be a priest. I don't want to be an evangelist. I just want to learn stuff that makes me feel good about me. And then I want you guys to get that. So Jesus had two commandments. Was one is let's put our Father, the energy first. Let's take the time to connect. And when we get that nice connection, then we got to learn to love ourselves. And then once we learn to love ourselves, then our next goal is to love others and teach them how to love themselves. That's the only things there is. Because in closing, let's do the imagination thing, right? The imagination thing. Imagine that the second that you woke up, that you're just in awe, awesome, right? You're just in awe and grateful for another night's sleep. You woke up and took a breath of fresh air. And now you're extremely grateful and excited about another day. Excuse me. But you, in that day, your number one goal is to speak to those that have ears to hear, because you're coming from a place of how much you're blown away with who you are and what the universe created. Because when you can learn to unconditionally love yourself and tap in first, plug in and learn to energize yourself, then all the stuff that you want to do is simplistic. Whatever you want to do, whatever your passion, whatever your purpose is, when you're coming from a place, me and Matthew were having a conversation, and we're talking about these people, right? Just to get sideways. Well, now that, United States lost their football game, right? And then how many of you are going like, okay, I'm done with soccer now? It's like, it's like, and Ronaldo, you know what I mean? He's got tears all over his face because he actually said to himself that I'm just too old to play this game the way I used to. And it's like a boxer or any other kind of athlete, or maybe any kind of person that is like really in the flow, when they demand it and the body doesn't react. Like this Saturday is going to be a huge, huge fight. And Conor McGregor is coming back. There is no way the Conor McGregor is going to be fighting Saturday night is the Conor McGregor that I know. Are you guys understand what I'm talking about? The guy that was able to win the championship in 19 seconds, the first to win two different divisions. The guy that was manifesting everything. First UFC fighter to make over $400 million. Packed every pay-per-view. This guy was exciting. But no one wants to talk about his last 6 fights he lost. He's trying to continue. Me and Terry used to watch a lot of boxing with me. Her and her father loved boxing, and I would always buy the fights. We would watch the fights. And it's always sad to watch the Tysons and the Holyfields and the Oscar De La Hoyas and the Floyd Mayweathers, that they get in the ring and it's just not the person with the confidence anymore. They're fighting because they need the money. You know what I mean? It's like we all know athletes that do this, right? And going back to soccer, so we hear about all the negative stories, but then the positive story came on. And everyone was going, hey, did you see Messi play? And it's like they're down a goal. They're down 2 goals. Time is running out. And just like he always does, just like he won those 2 trophies 4 years ago, all of a sudden it's like, well, if I'm going to do it, I better do it. And the next thing you say is like his ability just turn it up a couple more knots, score 3 goals in 15 minutes, and then finish out the game. And it's just like everybody's like, I didn't watch the game, but everyone was saying, gee whiz, that guy is on a different level. Like, you know, you go into the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left and you're down 23-0. And you look over at the bench and Tom Brady has got his head between his legs. And he's screaming at everyone on his team. That's the guy that you want on your team. It's like he's not looking at the scoreboard and going, well, I guess we fucking lost this one. It's like, no, he got up, he started slapping stuff out of people's hands. And he like goes out and wins another one. You know what I mean? Because your ability and love for yourself then inspires other people. So a lot of you are trying to go, how does this connection happen to everything else that I want to do in my life? How does this turn into income? How does this turn into freedom? How does this turn into passion and purpose? How does this turn into that? I really don't know. Maybe you guys can help me. Good place to close. If I meet a person that does not love themselves and does not believe in themselves, then they got one extra one. They actually don't believe in anything. And the only thing that constantly comes out of their mouth is how bad their childhood was, how bad the world is, how bad the government is, and how the whole world is unfair. You know how difficult it is for me to get that person to believe that they can make an above average income so they could get a new car, buy a home, have a great relationship, build a family. It's like, doesn't people get that we got to fix this one thing first? If I could do anything for the people in the world, not just the United States, it would get them to understand their uniqueness, to realize that they're already enough. They don't need anything. They just need to be connected and learn how to share that. Because the one thing that Matt and I talked about is there's these people in the world that have this it factor. I remember the first time that I heard about it, it was a word called being charismatic, right? And we all know what that feeling is. It's when Messi turns on that extra deal. It is when an athlete shifts into that next gear. It is when a person sings and we immediately get tears in our eyes. We go, I don't know what's happening to me. It's that actor or actress that while they're in the part, we literally get transformed in watching that person be that character. We no longer look at them and go, oh my God, that's just so-and-so. That's so-and-so doing that character. No, we're watching it and we actually see somebody else. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Cape Fear.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we're watching the newest Cape Fear. Holy cow. That guy's amazing, right? But you guys understand what I'm saying. So here's where I'll leave it. It'll be a little challenging, right? But when people talk to you, and they're around you, Do you think they see that in you? Do you think that they see the it factor? Do you think that they see the charismatic? Do you think that they look at you and go, "My God, I don't know what the hell she's talking about, but I know that I need to follow her." You guys getting this? Because all of you know people that have the it factor. They have the passion. They start talking and you're going, they're pulling this off. They're gonna pull this off. And so the first year of Unlimited Wisdom was just me figuring out what I needed to do next. Now, the second year and beyond of Unlimited Wisdom is us affecting 1 million people, to get 1 million people to understand that some people are charismatic, but a person can choose to be charismatic. I talked to a very dear friend yesterday, and to show you, we not only race cars together, we were in martial arts together, and we were both Toyota mechanics together. And when I started learning all this stuff about the science of getting rich and the greatest miracle in the world, I shared all this stuff with Drew. And he became an entrepreneur. And today, he just has like 600 or 700 franchises. Did you guys hear that? So he actually creates franchises, proves proof of concept, builds hundreds of them, and then sells them to people. And I watched him do this. So all he got was, I'm special. And so yesterday, me and him were talking, and he's got a 28-year-old son named Luke. And he's going, how do you teach that to your kids? And I go, I'll introduce you to one. And so he's going to be on a Zoom tomorrow with Matthew to take his hundreds and hundreds of franchises in his business to the next level. Isn't that crazy? And Drew came to my mind while I was talking to Matt, and all I got to thinking about, I went up and said this to Terry. It's like, who do you know? I didn't say this to Terry exactly correct. Now I will. But who are the people that you met in your life? Because I went up and this is what I said to Terry. Who do you guys know that has a lot of money? That's not who I want to know. Who do you know that's got the it factor? Who do you know that's charismatic? Who do you know that when you're around them, oh my God, I keep saying I'm going to end, but when Messi clicks it into that next gear, what do you think immediately happens to the energy of the other players? They see it. He might not be doing anything different, but they see it, and they feel it, and they go, when he gets in this mode, we're taking this game. And it just raises the confidence and the bravery and the boldness of every other player. When they start feeling that, and that energy comes up, then what happens to everyone that's at the game live? Their energy goes up 2 or 3 or 4 levels. Then what about the millions or the hundreds of millions that are watching it on TV? They're watching, and this is what they're saying. I'm watching history live. Watch this guy. Watch this guy pull it off again. You can't take that many people and raise their excitement, their inspiration, their motivation to build momentum. You can't do that and not see it happen. So when you guys see people that post stuff and they're now called influencers, they can be some of the stupidest people on the planet, but they're tapping into that thing. Have any of you met an extremely confident individual that you couldn't figure out why they were confident? It's like, hey, I'm going to take over the world. And it's like, okay. And they walk out, get on a bicycle. You're going, what are you doing? I got to go home. You're going to take over the world. But don't you guys know that every person that has made that influence and has made that change in the world, we all came from misfit worlds. It's like the misfits are the best people on the planet because they had to deal with just survival. So when they just had to figure out how to survive, how to make it to the next day, that's when all of a sudden they make up their mind that if it's to be, it's up to me. And a few of those individuals are like really imaginators. And they're like, I can make anything happen. Jesus is my pilot. I'm the co-pilot. You know what I mean? I can make anything happen. Anything's possible to those that believe. They're like, I don't even believe in that character. I don't care if you do or not. Just hang around and I'll buy everything. Yeah, just say hang around me and I'll just make your life funner. It won't be so boring being around me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. And so moving forward, that's what I want to do for everyone. Unlimited Wisdom is all about you learning the things that you need to learn because I've always believed this. I believe that who said this? It doesn't matter who said this. Do you guys know why people really, really make everything seem complicated? Is people make things look complicated and explain it as being complicated because good one, Jim. It's not only their ego edging God out, but it's them making you feel like it's very complex and complicated. So then you got to give me money so I can teach you how to do this complicated thing. When in reality, connection is simple. How many of you have been successful connecting to Wi-Fi? Everyone here that's connected to Wi-Fi, there was one time in your life. You got your phone?
Yeah.
There was one time in your life that someone told you about Wi-Fi. Okay. There was one time in your life where you go, Bob, will you do me a favor? Yeah, can you connect this to Wi-Fi for me? Everyone on here that watches this live or recorded at one time went, does my phone have Wi-Fi? Oh, it should. Can you connect it? Yeah. Beep, beep, beep. There, you're connected. Right? And now we can do it ourselves. When I get you guys all to a place of confidence and belief and loving yourself, where that's how fast you can connect to that energy, that frequency, you're unstoppable. And now you'll be excited like me to spend the rest of your life teaching people how to get connected. There it is. I love you guys. Have an incredible day. Thanks, Shelly. Thanks, Mary, Scott, Faith, Melody, Deborah, Jim, Arlene, Deborah Grady, Sandy, Coach Bob, Michael, and Angela, Terry, my sweetheart, and hostess with the mostest, Craig Jackman. We'll see you guys tomorrow on the breakthrough and Friday for another daily wisdom. Guys ready? God bless. Bye bye.